right, thank you so much for keeping it daybreak, and we are just on time for the lifestyle segment. Today we are talking about matters relationship like it is each and every Tuesday right here on Daybreak. Of course, I'm sitting in for Willis Raburu as we talk about something that is touching many of you out there. Today we want to focus on insecurities in relationships. When is it healthy, if it is? Depending on how you look at it, and when it is disastrous for a relationship. That is what we want to focus on this particular morning as we just look at some of the contributing factors and how to address insecurities in a relationship for you and your partner to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel like you're having something going for the two of you. And with me in studio, I have a panel of two, luckily a lady and a gentleman. So all voices are represented this morning. Thank you, both of you, for creating time. On my right side, I have the one and only QT. QT, you know her from Radio Citizen, Wax Tiki Taka. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Safin. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Looking good.
All right, thank you so much. And when you see CJ Atemo on set, you know we are good to go. We are sorted. He's the man to have when we are having such serious discussions to improve our relationships. Thank you for creating time for us once again.
You're welcome. Yeah.
All right. So I just want us to go straight in. When I was doing the intro, you remember I said insecurity can be healthy or not, depending on how you look at it or whether it is to start with. So I want us to begin from the basics, and this I'll direct to you, CJ.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So can it, you know, some people feel, you know, when all right, before we get into the conversation, this is what we want you to respond to. So what do you think is the cause of insecurity in a relationship? What is the cause of insecurity in a relationship from where you sit or where you stand? So 22422, the hashtag is Daybreak, is what you can use just to tell us your thoughts as well as we continue to interact on this very important conversation. What do you think is the cause of insecurity in a relationship? That's the big question that we are asking you this morning. So, CJ, back to you. So when you're talking about matters, insecurity in a relationship, to make it as basic as possible, some people may think it's love, it's showing concern, it's showing care, but from where you sit, what is it?
I think the two concepts that are coming in when, because you asked about whether it's healthy or not healthy.
Yes.
And I think that jealousy can be healthy. But insecurity is a whole different state where somebody feels exposed and uncertain about their position in a relationship. So if I'm talking about I am insecure, I feel absolutely exposed and uncertain. That means I may be uncertain emotionally. I may be uncertain in terms of the goals in the future of the two of us. I may be uncertain in terms of not knowing where I'm placed with this person. They could even be showing you attention, but then you're not very sure that this is going to last. So it begins to bring the sense of doubt. Mm-hmm. So when you are in the place of doubt, when you're in the place of uncertainty, you are literally in the place of insecurity in a relationship. Mm-hmm. There is the extreme of it as well, where somebody has got to keep on trying to find out what their partner is doing, so they feel they need to check their phone. They think that there's somebody else in their partner's life. That's the extreme. There's the mild insecurity, then there is the extreme one. So it causes people to go into different kind of activities that are a bit extreme as well. But generally, it is not a very good place for anybody to be in, caused mostly by breakdown in communication, or trust having been broken at some point. Mm-hmm. So if...
I want to cut you short, right, because we'll get to the causes in just a bit. I want us to go step by step. Let's first of all understand what it is. And right, you said something there, and I'll just like to find out, because when you're starting a relationship at the very onset, in the initial stages, sure, most of the things you've described are usually, demonstrated, like trying to find out about this person. You're still not sure where this is going. You're still playing safe. You're still uncertain. You're still doubtful, because it's just starting and you're just getting to know this person. So when does it graduate to insecurity?
See, the initial one is curiosity. And you don't know much about this person. You want to commit to them. And so you want to know that when you get into this, it's going to work out for you. I would actually call it due diligence. It's you just doing a background check. You're not feeling that there's somebody else or there's something that is being hidden from you. You're not feeling that you are not their choice. You just want to make a decision based on conviction and knowledge. But when it gets to insecurity, it is a place where you begin to doubt your place in this person's life. You're not sure. You're not sure whether they want you to be there. You're not sure whether you were their priority. You're not sure whether their heart is with you. That is when it becomes insecurity. Mm-hmm. So when you begin to dig for info based on you not being uncertain, that is now insecurity.
All right. So I'll just cross over to you, Cutie. As from a woman's perspective, you want to feel like a baby girl. You want the life of that person to revolve around you, as they're always constantly checking on you, always finding out whether you are safe. They're like always making you their first priority. But at what point do you feel like this is becoming too much from a woman's perspective?
I'd like to say that insecurity is kind of the self-doubt that you have inside of you. You're not sure about something. You're not certain about something. You have self-doubt. In your mind, you're asking yourself like too many questions like, am I enough? Are we okay? Are you okay? From a woman's perspective, it's always about tuko sawa, unashinda ukijishuku. But I believe that when it comes to that point that you're asking yourself all those questions, why are you even in that relationship in the first place? Because if someone is making you feel insecure, but I'd say insecurity comes in two ways. It could be about yourself. It could be about yourself. The insecurity is totally about you, but you're projecting it to the other person. So insecurity could come from you, from your inner self, maybe from a past relationship, from a past trauma, but also insecurity could be triggered by your partner. So it really depends where you're coming from. So the healthy part, I think, could come from where you're being maybe triggered by your partner, but the unhealthy part is whereby you have a past trauma. Like my previous relationship, the guy played me. My previous relationship, the guy never used to appreciate me or make me feel like I'm not beautiful enough, I'm not light-skinned enough, I'm not dark enough, I'm not, my dress code is not good enough for them and all those kind of things. So it really depends like where you're coming from. So if my partner is triggering that insecurity, in a way I feel like it's kind of healthy because they're just communicating. But then again, how are they communicating that to me? Are they saying it in a good way, or are they just saying it to put you down? There's sometimes someone can just say something to put you down, and it's because of what they're feeling inside of them, But sometimes someone can just communicate and say, hey, this is how I'm feeling because of this and this. You're behaving this way, and it's because of, just kindly like tell me, why are you behaving this and this, It's about communication. It's all about, as CJ said, it's all about communication. Communicate all these, with your partner, but in a very, very polite way. I think people come out rude sometimes, like, why are you dressing the way you're dressing? That's also an insecurity. And also when CJ said about jealousy and insecurity, I feel like jealousy is a sign of insecurity, honestly, because if I'm feeling jealous, if someone is maybe where they work, a workplace, someone is working at a certain place, oh, I'm feeling jealous, oh, he's surrounded by Akina CJ, Akina Willis, Akina Shatta, those are insecurities that you have to deal with yourself.
A little jealousy is nice.
It depends where you're coming from.
To know that someone is a bit uneasy when you're around other people means that, they value you. I don't know, depending on...
Yes, because they would want to have you.
Yeah.
They want exclusivity. So as long as it is not making them act in certain crazy ways, it is okay. And as long as it is justified, like they're not saying don't talk to Willis, but they feel like, oh my God, that guy was showing me so much attention. Yeah. And they can actually easily express it. It's not something that will make them say, now you don't talk to them, you're not going to work. That's a bit negative and a bit toxic. But it is okay to feel that thing a bit, because when you have a partner, you want to feel the sense that you occupy their whole world. and you feel their whole world. Even if it is just a mirage in your head, you want to tell yourself you're the best thing that ever happened to this person. You are everything they need. Of course, you can't be. So the little jealousy is just that fact of you realizing you don't complete their world. It's just that element of you knowing that you can't be everything to this person. You find them with certain other friends. See, jealousy can be even with how QT will relate with a sister. It doesn't have to be with another man. It will just be about somebody else who's filling up that space. So it could be like you're very close with your sister, and here's a guy in your life who has not hit that level of closeness or communication or something. So it's just the feeling of wanting to be this in the other person's life, not necessarily not wanting other people in that life.
And you're right, because we've had cases of people even being jealous of their own children spending so much time with their partner, or somebody spending so much time with their family. So it could be anything. It doesn't just necessarily have to be somebody of the opposite gender. Let's talk about the signs, because there could be somebody in a relationship right now and they feel like what they're going through is a manifestation of love. To some extent, they are not comfortable, but they just say, I've never met somebody who is this concerned, who is on my neck 24/7, who is constantly checking on me, wanting to find out who all my friends are and checking their background. They feel like they care, but let's talk about the signs and how insecurity manifests in a relationship.
Well, I think when somebody is concerned, you will know it. It comes actually from a place of security for themselves. There's what QT talked about, where you've got your own internal insecurities. There's the place where you can tell it's not that this person is in a place of self-doubt. They just wanted to know how I'm doing. Now, concern cannot be after every 30 minutes, you're trying to check out on me whether I'm okay. Because unless there is something major, see, when you're using the GPS, if you are on a straight road and you're going for 7 kilometers, you'll be told, drive 7 kilometers. At that particular point, the 7 kilometers, the lady will be quiet. She doesn't have to talk because you're on the right path until there is a major turn. So normally, when there is an issue of major concern, the other person may raise it, or you may then check up on them. But if you checked up on them 8:30, then 8:45, you're still trying to check out that I'm just concerned. 8:49, they're at work. You've got to respect the fact that they're at work or at school or with other people. If you really cannot give them space to be who they are, to be themselves, to concentrate on other things, then it might be your own insecurities, where you keep on feeling like they must be with somebody else. Now, this is where the issue is. If I feel that the person I am with is not faithful, not strong enough to stand by themselves, that even if they don't communicate with me for a whole day, they are still committed here, then I shouldn't even be in a relationship with this person, because it already means I doubt their integrity. So why would you be in a relationship with somebody that you don't even believe in? You don't think that they have enough sense to make the right decisions wherever they are. You don't think that if they are on their own, even if they were working with men, you don't think that they can keep themselves. Why would you want somebody like that? It is damage to yourself, and then you begin to damage the other person. So there is an element of concern. Concern comes from a point of security. It comes from a point of the other person being fulfilled by themselves. And then the control is what the insecurity brings in. So you want to make sure this person is within certain space, a certain mind frame, only dealing with certain kind of people, and you know everything about them, and they're always on phone, ready to answer you. It really doesn't matter whether they were busy or not. You know, they must just be there. The phone can't ring twice without them not picking. If they don't pick it, then you'll be raising issues. Where are you? You send a text, well, you will see that they were online, but you're assuming that they're online and available to text you back. So they'll be seeing it, they're probably in a meeting, or she's in studio, so she can't really text back. But then it will come out blue, the blue ticks. Then why are you blue ticking me? You know, that's very unhealthy. That's very unhealthy.
Or you are on your way, and then they're like, it takes 30 minutes to get here. You took 1 hour.
Like, I've waited for you. The person is just 5 minutes late. Listen to the tone, Safin. Listen to the tone. The tone will tell you whether this is concern or control. when it is concern, you can tell this person is just checking up on you, wishing you well. They're very polite. They're very settled. They're not agitated. They're not irritated. And they will actually give you space. Like if I called you at 1 and you've not talked to me till 3, I may check up on you probably at about 4 or 5, because that is not your usual demeanor to stay that long. Then I'll just come in and say, are you okay? I will not come there and begin to accuse you. Why are you not replying? Why are you not getting back to me? You know, what if something has happened to you? It looks like it is concern, but the tone will tell you.
Whether it is concern or not. Whether it is concern
I love
or control. Wow. Okay, so let's talk about, you said something very important, QT, when you said insecurity can be from within, or it could be triggered by somebody else who, for instance, somebody you're in a relationship with. Let's talk about that sort of insecurity that comes from that other person. What are some of the things that somebody can do to trigger their partner to be insecure about the relationship?
Most of the time you'll find people having trust issues, like I don't trust you. There's a reason why I could not trust you, Safin. Like inaweza kuwa ni kitu yenye unafanya sana, unajua. Like for example, you could be on your phone, like you come home at 5. So from 5 to maybe 10, by the time we go home, you could be just on your phone, you know. But sometimes you need to also consider the other person. Like you've not been together the whole day. You've been away from work. I've given you your time. You've been away from work. You've been working with your colleagues and all that. But when you come home, you at least need to have time for your family, for your partner. I'm not saying necessarily like give them 100%, but at least show them that they exist. Someone has taken you out on a date night. You're on your phone. You're actually concentrating on the people away from you than from the person who is here. You see, like right now, the way I'm giving you 100% attention, at least sometimes you need that. And there are those people that don't have that kind of assurity. They're like, maybe this person doesn't like me because the way CJ has said, there's control and there's concern. There's a way I can communicate to you and say, babe, I feel like I don't trust you. I feel like, but there's a way, hey, babe, siku trust, by the way. Yo simu yako, hey, yo simu yako uko nayo sana. You know, that's a tone. You've already made up your mind. Hey, yo simu yako uko nayo sana. But there's a way you can just communicate and say, babe, cheki, phone yako, sometimes, mina feel like, una concentrate sana na phone yako. So you just take time to like, don't use your phone too much when you're at home. Try to limit yourself. You see, that's concern. But the other one is control, the way CJ was saying. So you can actually tell, you know, when someone is communicating something to you, actually listen to them, not their actions. They say mostly listen to them, like, how is this person communicating to me? This person could be like, babe, I love you, I love you, I love you. But this I love you, at the end of the day, ukikuja home, ni vurugu too, because of those trust issues. Unapata say, for example, even dress code. We've had people have issues with the dress code, like your partner is like, hey babe, your dress ni short sana, unajua, like, you're like, but anaweza kuambia, babe, unaona, you know, when you say that, you're communicating something else, but you can say something like, hey babe, next time sujaribu kuvaa tu nguo yenye ni decent kidogo, mi na feel like au ni respect ukivaa hivyo, una get. So it's just all about communication. How are you communicating to your partner? Because for one, if you trigger your partner the wrong way, they might actually do that more to actually piss you off, you know. Like, okay, jana ulikuwa umevaa dress fupi, pia wewe una behave nika mtuko single, ni kama una mtu. You know, these things happen because people can get as petty as that, you know. And sometimes it's not about being petty. It's about I'm communicating my insecurities. Maybe in my previous relationships, my guy used to love me wearing long dresses, and all that. Vatu vitu mrefu, wacha story mingi. I know, but sometimes, sasa umekuja, I want to be cute, you know. I usually wear short dresses. This is how I dress, and you cannot change the way I dress. So kuna hizo two issues zenye unaweza kuwa umekari from a previous relationship, and you come with them in this relationship. You want to mold someone, you want to customize someone to actually be what you want them to be, you know. I want to customize you. Oh, I want you to come home at 5. Umetoka job 1, show imeisha 1. So mbona umefika home 5, you know? What were you doing between 1 to 5, you know? Umemaliza show. So ulikuwa wapi, ulikuwa unafanya nini? Na kuna wale maboy wenye hawaizi allow like ukue na any male best friend. You know, that has been a big issue. Yeah. It has been a big issue. It's even trending like bestie, you know. That thing has been trending like, why do you have a best friend like
who is a male?
Who is a male?
You have a boyfriend.
I'm your best friend, you know. Insecurities ni vitu kama hizo. Yeah. Unajua kuna vile unaweza communicate useme like, you're not my best friend because we don't talk about everything. You know, sometimes your partner should be your best friend. But
say marry your best friend.
Marry your best friend. But you'll be in trouble. You'll be in trouble if you don't marry your best friend, because you'll find yourself like, I'll communicate maybe more to Shatta because I work with him, he's my colleague. So I'll find myself opening up more to him instead of my partner. But you see, that's a blunder, because at the end of the day, I need to communicate to the person next to me. Even if I communicate to Shatta can only listen or advise me or give me a listening ear, you know. But I really need to communicate to this person over here. Like,
you know, one interesting thing, and I wanted to add on to what she said, because many people just end up blaming the partner, that he or she is so insecure. They make me feel like I'm choked in this relationship without even thinking of what they could be doing to trigger that. And I want you to just add on what she has said concerning some of the ways in which, without knowing, you could just be the cause of that problem you're having in your relationship.
All right, let me just weigh in a bit on what Kitty has said while she was ending it up about the thing of probably opening up more to your colleague than to your partner. It also depends on what you're talking about, the context and the content. Because if it is work-related, goals-related, you probably may find it's easier to talk to the people that you're working with. There's this thing of friendship. You have a friend and then you have a lover. And I've said this here before at some point, that sometimes when people get a lover, they lose the friend in the lover. They may have started with this person as a friend. And when they become lovers, the elements of jealousy, the insecurities begin to reduce the scope of their communication. So you see, with Shatta, you probably will easily talk about even your attractions. You can easily tell him, you know, that's a fine guy. But you may not say that to your partner. Not because you're actually trying to go to the other guy. It's just what is coming through your thoughts. So the stakes are lower sometimes with the friends. And so you find that you will talk a bit more with people where you do not fear the repercussions. You know that no matter what you tell Shatta, it's not that you're going to break up. But here, you've got to be a bit careful. Everything has got to be measured, because you do not want to lose the relationship. You do not want to offend the other person. And if they have shown you at some point that certain conversations will trigger them either into anger or withdrawing, you'll want to avoid that to keep the relationship. So sometimes that is how people find themselves in a place where they talk more to other people than they talk to their partners. But it still comes back again to the issue that you're asking me about is an issue of communication. It's literally communication. If this is who I think that I am and these are my preferences, this is what I love to do, and I come into the relationship and I say, you know, this is who I will be, I have to also listen to the concerns of the other person. I have to read their body language. There are people who are not socialized to even voice their discomfort. So they'll be watching you and you'll come out dressed in your short dress. They won't say anything, but you can tell they're very uncomfortable. They don't know how to have difficult conversations. So anytime you dress up like that, you can tell he's withdrawn, he's a bit quiet, he's coming in, but he's not really, he's going with me, but he's not really going with me. You need to take up the step and say, is my dressing making you uncomfortable? Because you cannot have a relationship, two of you, when everybody has a hard stance. When the guy says, but this is just who I am. You know, I'll come home at 10 p.m. because I'm hanging out with the boys and, you know, you can't cut me off from the boys. Then why are you in this relationship with this other person? Why not communicate that there are these nights when I will come at this time because we will be out with these people? It just shows respect. And then there are other days that then you stay home. You can come home early and say, you know, I'll be coming home on Monday. or even if you don't tell them, but you're coming home on Monday, for example, there's no football night probably, you're coming home on Monday, you spend the time with them. So if you're out on a Wednesday or a Thursday, they know you're not trying to disrespect them, because you balance it between the time that you give them and the time that you are out.
So it has to be intentional.
It's got to be intentional. And communication as well is. You've got to be very intentional. Communicating, Safin, means that you respect the other person, that you value that they are there. Now, if I tell you that I am busy, for example, if I tell you I'll be caught up today, there's a lot of work today, so I'll be caught up until 6. If you cannot allow me to work till 6, then you are insecure, because I have communicated that we'll be off until this time or until later on. But if I have not communicated, then when you are raising that issue and you ask, where are you? That's a concern, because you do not know. When you know where I am,
and you still ask,
that's insecurity.
Control.
Yeah. When you do not know, that's a concern. So it is always just a matter of communication, and most of the mistrust comes from the breakdown of communication, where I may think I'm communicating, but you really don't get what I'm trying to communicate. My way of communication may be very different from your way of communication, because some people some people will use subliminals. You know, they will not be very direct in what they are saying. They do not know how to directly say what they want. So when you say something like, you could have worn a long dress or something, it's also very easy to come and say that the short one makes me uncomfortable. Because when you say you could have worn a long dress, I could interpret that in whichever way. Yeah. So another day I may still put on the short dress because I thought maybe it was the occasion we were going to that you felt I should wear a long dress. So somebody should be very direct in communication. Communication needs to be very clear, so that what you are saying is what the other person hears it. Now, if they don't like it, they will also voice their concerns about it. Then you can have the difficult conversation to the point where you get to a compromise. So if for example, Kitty will say, this is what I like. Then I say, okay, this is what it makes me feel. Then she will be like, but it may make you feel like that, but this is not what I'm trying to make you feel. That difficult conversation is very important for the clarity of communication in the future. So if we agree, then you will be doing that. But in certain other spaces, please don't do that. See, we're on the same side. We have aired our views. We didn't agree on everything, but then we have found a compromise. So when she does that, I don't have a reason to either attack her or feel bad. And when I ask her, please put on a trouser today, she will not feel like I'm coming from nowhere just to try and change her. So what most people do in relationships is that they avoid the difficult conversations. They have conversations in their own mind. They are hoping that you will read it. They are hoping you will get it. And they are hoping that you will align very quickly to what they've not even said.
Yeah, without sounding judgmental, for women, we're so expressive and we just let it out there. It's usually a challenge to read the mind of the male in the relationship, because not so many of them are wired to speak out and say what they feel or what they think. But that's a conversation for another day. Cutie, so how do you balance, when somebody's trying to change you and just innocently, wanting their needs to be met in a relationship? Because you talked about this could be you. You like dressing this way. This is your character. Maybe this is your schedule. But it doesn't meet what the other person wants or what they're looking for in this relationship. So when the two of you are in that particular arrangement, how do you balance?
I love what CJ has said. Yeah. Sometimes that uncomfortable conversation is what you need to have. You need to tell me, I don't like your dressing. I say, okay, this is my kind of dressing, but I can adjust it, but I can't wear a long dress. Like I can actually, if my dress was maybe an inch longer, like would that make you feel better? Like if my dress is a knee length, would that make you feel better? These are the conversations that we avoid. And actually reading minds is one of the insecurities, and it's one of those, what do I say, like it's an insecurity in itself, because you're trying to read your partner's mind. Just ask them directly, like just ask. If you feel that you're insecure, if you feel like you have self-doubt, just ask your partner, do you feel like me going out with my male friends, is that a problem for you? And as CJ said earlier, when we were starting this conversation, it's not only about male friends. It could be about my female friends. Like, you feel like my female friends, they like influence me in a bad way. Like, all the time it's like, hey, tuishe, you happy, you know, sherehe, nini. You know, it's not even just about the male colleagues, the male friends. It could also be about my family. How do I relate with my brother? You see, me and my small brother, we are so tight. Like, we go out, we do things together and all that. And sometimes it rubs some people the wrong way, because they're like, I feel like you guys are spoiling each other too much. Why don't you hang out with me more than, you know, like, these things do come up at the end of the day. And I think where you need to find the balance, just communicate everything. And if you communicate that to your partner, like if I say, I'm not comfortable with this, and they say, you need to come to an agreement at the end of the day. And I believe in relationships, it's all about sacrifice and compromise sometimes, because you need to say, okay, fine, I used to go out 5 times a week. I'm gonna do that 2 times a week. You know, like, if it's possible. Like, but it's just an example of I used to wear dresses like every single day, but I can wear jeans. Like, you know, you try to find a balance in between. Whatever it is your partner is insecure, they're trying to communicate. Either way, we might look at it as jealousy, insecurity, but they're trying to communicate something.
So you have to have some level of sacrifice from your partner.
Yes, you have to compromise.
Whatever.
And you also have to sacrifice at some point. Just try to avoid the things that trigger your partner, if you can. And if you can't, just try to come to a compromise.
That can only be tolerated if it's for things you can. There are people who are asking you to resign from your job. There are people who are asking you to change your religion suddenly. I mean, how do you deal with those big life decisions?
You've got to also ask whether what this person is asking is for the good of the relationship and is doable for you, or they're just being unrealistic and unreasonable. Because it could also be, and when we started, QT mentioned the internal insecurities, it could also be that this person needs therapy, that they need to heal from something, because no matter what you do, they will always find the next thing that you need to do. Sometimes when somebody has their own internal insecurities, they will want to control you. And you see, with control, there's no end. Today, I will say that trouser was too long. The next time you put on something else that is shorter, I'm like, why did you put a shorter on? Then you do something, because I derive my joy from just controlling you and destabilizing you. So no matter what you do, it will not be enough. When it gets there, somebody needs to be called out, and they need to be let to know, this is not concern, this is not a relationship, you are too critical, you were never satisfied, you seem to be against everything that I do, my core, who I am. So we've got to make decisions about this. One, I feel you need to heal yourself. 2, you need to make a decision whether you want to be with me.
All right, that's a tough conversation to have in a relationship. We just want to sample some of your feedback. Remember, we were asking you, what do you think are some of the contributors or causes of insecurity in a relationship? And I just want to look at what some of you are saying on social media. And we have Celine from Angina Chuka, you say relationships are built in mutual understanding, respect, trust, love, happiness. Remove this and you are done. Wow. Beatrice from Tuapa, you say, I think the cause of insecurity is how partners cheat on one another. I mean, unfaithfulness to one partner. Thank you for that, Beatrice. And we have one there. Cause of insecurity is distance in relationship, behavioral change in terms of answering calls. Thank you for that. We have one, just a question. What happens when you are dating someone and they still text their ex and share photos, refusing to move on? They still are sharing text and photos now. There's another one saying, my husband keeps on checking on me on my phone every day. He comes home from work. He wants to know who called or texted me, and when he finds nothing, he keeps on saying that I deleted them. It's like he expects to find something, and when he doesn't, he just changes his mood. Thank you for that as well. So this character of always investigating and, somebody checking your phone, checking your text messages. If he doesn't find anything, he thinks you are deleting your messages. All right, a lot of, feedback being shared there. There's one talking about cheating as a contributor to that lack of just stability and security in a relationship. There's one who's saying the husband is constantly checking, and if they lack anything, it's still a problem. You find something, it's a problem. You don't find anything, it's still a problem. So how do you deal with this person?
Of course, something like cheating will create insecurity in a relationship. And that might just get to the place of, behavioral change. The two of you are fine until something happened. That is a very valid cause of insecurity because trust has been broken. And for it to be built again, trust has got to be rebuilt. There are certain things that people have got to do for trust to be rebuilt. One, they have to show, especially the one who has breached the trust, they have to show that they are willing to stay in here. Mm-hmm. They have to show that they are remorseful. They have to be more communicative. They need to be more available. And probably they need to be a bit more open. So if, for example, I used to stay out late, and then in my staying out late, then I cheated. So when I am showing remorse, I cannot be staying out late as well and go quiet, because that will be a trigger to this other person. They'll begin thinking, okay, it's the same thing happening. So even if I have to, I've got to communicate. What I'm showing is that I'm willing to work on this. There's nothing that I'm hiding from you. So where trust has been broken, it is justifiable for the other person to feel insecure because they do not know what space they occupy. But again, it needs to be talked about and it needs to be worked on. The issue of somebody checking your phone every day, first of all, I think that's too much work. I really just think that is too much work,
Who called at what time? They called 4 times. They called at 12. And why are they calling at 11?
Because, friend, by the time I'm going home to check my wife's phone, it means that my afternoon has been occupied by this thought. Yeah. So even when I'm away from her, I'm still thinking about that. I mean, so why would you even punish yourself by being in that kind of a relationship? You driving yourself crazy. You getting paranoid. You'll drive yourself crazy. And then you begin to drive the other person crazy. So somebody was talking to one time, and he had all these thoughts in his head about what he thought his wife was doing. And I said, you know what you need to do? So make a conclusion of the worst case scenario. Just tell yourself, okay, she's doing all of this, so where do you move forward from there to? Because every day telling yourself she could be doing this, she could be doing this, is tormenting you more than it is actually tormenting her, and you'll drive yourself crazy. If this person even has a reason to be doing that, if the wife at some point was texting somebody else or whatever it is, he should know that she can still do that and not even on the phone. So he needs to ask himself, do I want to be in a relationship where every day I've got to be checking the phone? Are there other issues that he has to deal with? Is he feeling that he's not a man enough? Is he feeling that some things have changed around him and so the lady has grown and outgrown him? Are there conversations that the lady is having? Are there comments that she makes that makes him feel like maybe she's admiring somebody else? Maybe she's just, in love with Marcus Rashford, cuties, whatever. And so this guy will be checking the phone every day thinking, I'm not enough. Yeah. It could be something as inanimate as that. And then this guy begins to feel like, okay, so she wants somebody who's built up and this, and I don't have muscle. So now he begins to feel that she must be looking for a man elsewhere, just because of a very simple, subtle comment. I think no matter what the woman may have done, because we don't know the other side of the story, it's just too crazy to try and be doing that.
Yeah, true. There's one person who talked about distance, and he married that with a change in the manner in which they communicate on maybe through phone calls or text messages. And my question, QT, would be then, must people be physically together to feel secure in a relationship? And if in circumstances where they are not physically together, what is it that then they should do to sustain and, just keep that fire going for both of them to feel like they're in a relationship, they're committed, and they're safe with each other.
Safin, I'm telling you, long distance is crazy, you know, and it's a lot of work. You really have to put in the work like 2 times than the person that you're with in the house, you know. If you're living with a person, maybe it would be easier, maybe it's not easier. I don't know how people take it, but for me, I feel like long distance is a lot of work because this person is not here. So if you don't know their movements, or if you feel like, okay, they're not picking up, you know, it's going to drive you crazy. I'm calling QT. It's maybe 8 a.m. She's not picking. She's not in studio. Maybe 10 to 1. Okay, fine. She's in studio. Let me not call her. But I'm calling QT at 1. I'm calling her at, I didn't pick the phone at 1:10. I picked the call at 1:30. So what were you doing between 1 and 1:30, you know? Like, I cannot be able to explain all these things to my partner.
All the time.
You know, all the time. Every day it's about, okay, hey, I was doing this and this. I was recording a promo. I was doing this. I was... You know, we create content. I think it's all about understanding the person that you're dating, because once you're able to understand the person, the career that they're doing, the people that are around that person, I think it's gonna be easier for you. But if you don't understand like who you're dating, I think that's gonna be a problem, especially when it's long distance, because you're gonna go crazy. You're calling this person, you're texting this person, you want them to reply like after every 5 minutes. If they're not replying after every 5 minutes, they're somewhere. Like someone has gone out with their friends, someone has gone for dinner with their brother, with their father, with their mother, or whatever. Like someone has just, it's a reality. I've just gone out to maybe eat lunch with my dad.
But it takes me back to what CJ said earlier. If you had called your partner and told them, I'll be having dinner with some friends later on, from 8 to 10, I'll be home late, then
but you see,
no
Safin,
sense why they should be...
I've communicated, I'm out with my friends, for example, it's a Friday night, I'm out with the girls, but you still want to text me 24. You just want, I'm in the club, or I'm having dinner with the friends. You just want to text me. You just want to text
that
me.
very quickly. I like how she changed. I'm in the club, or I'm having dinner.
I know, but you're just texting me in the...
Stick to the club.
Let me stick to the... But you're just texting me, you're texting me. And you want to video...
Those people who want to video call.
I know, right?
You knew that you were going to be having dinner with someone just to see the environment.
Then I'd rather stay home, CJ. I'd rather stay at home rather than do this other activity out here. Rather than do all this and I'm just here texting you, even the people around me will be like, come on, just give us some bit of time. Hey, hata kani mapenzi, hata mtu wako kwani haizi tupatia time. So it's all about mtu wako. Ukienda kufanya hizo vitu zenye unafanya, ushamwambia, but bado tu anataka kushindana assurity, hajakana boy, unajua hajakaribia mse, take photos, nitumie mapicha mko na kina nani. So ukituma picha na huko umemention mtu fulani hapo, bado inakuwa ni shida. Nakwambia long distance pia haikwangi rahisi. It's a bit tricky, it's a bit messy when you don't understand your person.
But that happens even for people who are around each other, where somebody's trying to reach you, for example. You are out, you're busy, you feel... See, it is very disrespectful to be with people and be on your phone because you're communicating with somebody else. And some of those things are very spontaneous. Like, I could be walking out of the studio, then we strike a conversation with QT and realize we need to hang out a bit. So it's not something that was planned. Then we go and sit out at the cafeteria, spend an hour or two. Out of that place, probably there's business, there's content, there's networking that is going to come out. Now, if you insist that every time I leave the studio, I have to let you know, I'll fail you in this time, you will get upset, and you're getting upset, and then probably you'll see a photo that it was good hanging out with QT, then you're like, you couldn't pick my call, and you were with QT. You see, it comes to these things of trust. Trust. So that even if I've not communicated, of course, there are those ones where people are very deliberately trying to hide where they are and what they're doing. But if I trust you, I will allow you to come back to me and say, sorry, I wasn't able to pick your calls. I wasn't able to get to you. We had this and this going on at work or something. I've just gotten home. It's late. We'll catch up tomorrow. And if you trust me, you should be able to take that. But to put somebody in a space where even when they are driving, they've got to text you back. They are sitting in meetings, serious meetings, they've got to text you back. So either they have to switch off a phone, then you will complain about the phone is off, so it means you're cheating. Because they're switching off the phone because of the disturbances, or they'll just put it off. You don't have to put your partner through that mental stress. If you don't trust somebody, just don't be with them.
Yeah, is it by force? I know.
And you know,
is it by force?
Sorry, somebody said something. I'm going to drop this, but somebody said something that, you know, ladies love attention. It's true.
Yeah, we do.
But if you want a man who will show you attention every 30 minutes, you just need an idle broke man.
Thank you. Thank you, CJ.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah, true.
But don't try to get a man whose money you want and you want all of his time.
But that is not an excuse.
No, context. It's context.
So let's talk about the impact, because when this is too much in a relationship, what does it do to a relationship? The impact of insecurity in a relationship. I'll start with you, QT.
First of all, it might damage my feelings for you. You might communicate something. Okay, I say, okay, fine, you've communicated this. I'm going to try to work on this. So, for example, let me just use a good example. Like today, I'm in a place, I've taken a photo with someone. Maybe they've put their hand on my shoulder or they're close to me or something. You communicate, okay, I don't want that. So the next time someone else is there, but the hand is not there. So I've removed the hand part, but I'm just taking a photo. You know, it's just a photo. Like after the show, we're going to take a photo, the three of us. Maybe I'm too close to CJ, you know, things like those. So it's one issue after the other, after the other. So it's not really about me taking photos. It's about why am I around men? You see, now that's the problem. But you didn't communicate that. You communicated, I don't want someone putting their hand with you. You didn't communicate like, I totally don't want you to take a photo with a man. You know, like you didn't communicate so that we come to an agreement or a disagreement. So it will always be an issue after another issue. They pile up so much, it reaches a point I'm just like, you know what, I can't do this with you anymore. Like, it's too much for me to handle, you know. So just communicate directly what the issue is. Don't just communicate, I don't want you to take a photo with
so in the
kind
process
of
of this person trying to save the relationship, if it's too much, if it is overdone, he may just lose that relationship.
You're going to lose that person because at the end of the day, it's about, I feel like you're also projecting insecurities on me. So it reaches a point I'm like, I can't handle you. Go deal with yourself. Then when you're done, just come and we have a good relationship.
Thank you, Now, CJ, you get the final word.
Well, I don't think that anybody should get into a relationship to be firefighting every day. When you come together, you come because you have shared values, a shared vision, probably. You want to go the same direction, and you want to draw from each other's strength, build each other, make each other become better. So if you're going to spend all your energy fighting each other, second-guessing each other, solving problems, that is a bit toxic. Every issue that is raised in a relationship should be raised with a view to take you forward, make people be clearer in understanding, build your trust, and have a clear vision of where you want to go. But if we're going to stay around the same things every now and then, we have as basic as trust issues, we may need to rethink whether this is what we want to do.
All right, thank you, CJ. Thank you for your time this morning. And of course, we were just talking about insecurities in a relationship and how to address this issue when it comes to loving someone. Concern vis-a-vis control, a big lesson that we take home today. Plus, we're going to be taking a photo after this. I hope we will not land in trouble by that particular photo. Thank you so much for creating time for us. My name is Safin Achieng Oma. I was sitting in for Willis Raburu. Have a lovely day. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.